Welcome to CTV News, I'm Kaneta Knight. After months of speculation, today the Christchurch City Council announced the future of AMI Stadium. Along with the stadium, there was an update on the status of other city event facilities, the Christchurch Town Hall and the Christchurch Convention Centre. The Hadley stand will have to be demolished, but the future of the other stands are still uncertain. The Paul Kelly stand and the Dean stand have dropped, leaving the floors of both stands uneven. Significant repairs are required for the Tui stand. No rugby will be played at the stadium until at least 2012. This means the Crusaders will have to find a new home ground by February. City Council engineers say the Convention Centre will also have to be demolished. The Council received an update from structural and geotechnical engineers at a workshop this morning, and the Council reiterated the fact that evaluating the earthquake damage at each facility is ongoing. Councillor Sue Wells says the Council is working with its insurers and engineers are still determining the best form of repairs. Full reports are expected to be presented to the Council in October. We'll have a more in-depth look at the stadium and the announcement in tomorrow's bulletin. It has also been announced today that QE2 Fitness Centre at Parklands will open to the public on Monday, the 15th of August. This will offer health and fitness opportunities to communities in eastern Christchurch, with the QE2 Fitness Centre moving to Parklands Community Centre. The Christchurch City Council's Recreation and Sports Manager, John Faisal, says committed staff from QE2 will be based at Parklands, and they worked really hard to ensure the equipment got to Parklands safely, piece by piece. Members of QE2 Fitness Centre and the local community are invited to take the first look at QE2 Fitness at Parklands this weekend. The public are invited to the open day on Sunday, 14th of August, 12 p.m. till 4 p.m. to meet staff, community groups and local sports clubs. QE2 Fitness at Parklands will offer group exercise classes, a full range of cardio equipment, machines and weights, and personalised fitness programs. The Parklands Community Centre also offers a sports lounge, meeting rooms and offices which are available for community groups to book. The move is temporary until a new permanent home can be found in the city's eastern suburbs. QE2 has been closed since the February earthquake because of structural damage and liquefaction. For membership inquiries, you can email rec@ccc.govt.nz or call 941 6888. Despite residents calling for a more northerly option, the New Zealand Transport Agency has gone ahead with plans for the Christchurch Southern Motorway Stage 2.
The New Zealand Transport Agency has announced its chosen alignment for the second stage of the Christchurch Southern Motorway, and they have a lot of opposition. A 415 signature petition calling for a more northerly alignment couldn't sway the agency, who says it would have cost $15 to $30 million more on top of the total $90 million cost because of the difference in property purchase costs, leaving the northern route, or the red route, a less appealing option than the chosen green route.
The green route is a better geometry, although the red route was still standard compliant, so it could have been constructed, but it was a better geometry. Two, it goes through what is considered to be a valuable tranche of industrial land and deprives Christchurch of that industrial land in a period of time where we believe it may be necessary, and we've had feedback to that effect from UDS partners. And three, it's significantly more expensive because it is prime industrial land.
But the construction is not set in stone. The NZTA have already considered submissions opposing the chosen alignment, but they're holding 3 open days for the public to discuss the decision. Mr Colgan says the selected route is final at this stage, but if a submission comes up that hasn't been considered already, they'll take it into account. However, he couldn't see that happening.
This is not a done deal. There is a consenting process to go through, and everybody will get their say. They'll be able to submit against the project or for it if they feel so inclined, and it will be for the consenting body to determine whether or not this actually gets built. But in terms of ourselves, this is our preferred alignment and our preferred preference, and that's what we'll progress with.
Construction of Stage 2 is expected to commence in 2015 and will favour the southwest of the city, which is likely to experience accelerated growth and demand for housing and businesses as Christchurch is rebuilt. Stage 1 of the motorway runs from Brougham Street to Halswell Junction Road, and Stage 2 will continue on across parts of rural southwest Christchurch to Robinson's Road, where it ties in with Main South Road. Main South Road is to be widened to a 4-lane motorway and a strip of land up to 22 metres wide purchased from properties on the western side of the road. A full-grade separated interchange at Shands Road, south of Marshes Road, will allow drivers to turn left, right or go straight from any direction.
Shands Road is the main interchange on CSM2. It's the only full access interchange. There will be no other access onto it or off of it other than the slip-on from Main South Road, which is only for northbound traffic, and there'll be a full interchange at Whedon's Ross Road.
Freight-only on and off ramps will also be constructed between Halswell Junction Road and Christchurch Southern Motorway, and an underpass at Trents Road will allow local traffic to drive over the motorway. Robinson's Road, where Main South Road and Stage 2 of the motorway tie in, was a key area for public feedback.
There are a number of businesses and there are a number of access issues around that particular juncture, and we looked at 5, I think, different options as to how we could reconfigure that. We tried pulling it further back, we tried changing the alignment, we tried shoving it further south. The reality was that we build it pretty much where it currently is designed, or we don't build it at all.
Implications on local road capacity and safety are being looked into by the Selwyn District Council and NZTA, particularly on Shands and Trents roads.
These yellow highlighted roads are roads we recognise may suffer from additional congestion once the motorway is constructed. We're talking to Selwyn Council about how they might be improved. Again, it's a discussion in principle at the moment. It's a level of detail we've not yet got to, but we will get there. But we recognise it may be an issue.
The next stage of consultation will see the project go to the NZTA board for approval at the end of the year and then move to the detailed design phase.
Beyond Whedon's Ross Road, which is that blue link heading what will be sort of southwest, we're 4-laning down towards Rolleston, exactly where we stop. I mean, that's approximately where we're going. We haven't got the exact position, and that will be a detailed design issue we work out. It won't be right into Rolleston, but it won't be immediately beyond the roundabout either. We need to be able to taper those 2 lanes safely back into one. So a little bit more detailed design work will tell us exactly where that point will be.
One improvement the public has asked for and been given is a cycleway, which will connect Christchurch Southern Motorway to the existing Little River Trail. Underpasses at Halswell Junction Road and Springs Road will allow cyclists and traffic to drive or cycle over the motorway.
Coming up after the break, the Quake families continue their fight for government support. Welcome back. Christchurch Mayor Bob Parker has voiced his support for the Quake families. The families, consisting mainly of those that lost loved ones in the CTV building, are struggling to get the government to support them legally and financially.
Family members of victims of February's earthquake are still struggling for support from the government. Around 53 families applied unsuccessfully for legal aid to help them participate in the Royal Commission of Inquiry. Earthquake Recovery Minister Jerry Brownlee reiterated on Friday that he will not review the decision for the government to legally support the families. But Christchurch Mayor Bob Parker has spoken out, saying he believes the families should be fully supported.
I really genuinely do. I mean, there might be legal and logistical arguments that they have considered that make them think it's not necessary, but for me it's really necessary. We've lost so many people in this city in an unprecedented manner, and a great number of those lives were lost in the CTV building. And I think the families need to know and hear firsthand and feel that they have an independence of representation so that the questions concerning them are heard and that they hear their interpretation from their legal counsel of the answers. I just think it's a simple humanitarian gesture, and I think it's so important for these families.
The families and their lawyer, Grant Cameron, argue their situation is no different to the Pike River disaster or the Cave Creek tragedy, where families received government support. However, Minister Brownlee says there is a difference. As the PGC and CTV buildings collapsed because of an earthquake, the tragedy did not happen because of human error like Pike River. But Mayor Parker also says he does not see the difference between the tragedies.
It happened at Pike River, It happened at Cave Creek. I think it should happen here in Christchurch. And yes, it will cost some dollars, but I think the government should be prepared to put those dollars up. And I find it hard to understand that they can't find the compassion to support these families.
Mayor Parker says he's voiced his opinion to the government and has gone as far as to say he will donate some of his own money to the families.
Well, I've voiced my opinion publicly, and they will no doubt be aware of where I stand on the issue. And I've also said that I'd put up $1,000 of Mrs. Parker and my money to support the legal costs of this. I've had a tremendous reaction from a number of people through my office that have offered everything from additional legal support, and I think that there are people out there who would be prepared also to put some money into supporting the families having independent legal representation at the Royal Commission. I know it's going to be pretty expensive, and so we're talking to the legal teams for the families, and that will give us some clarity. We can determine where we should go next with this.
The families say they are now figuring out what the next step is, but they will keep fighting. Mayor Parker says the families should keep putting pressure on the government.
That they have to continue to put the pressure on government that they are, and I certainly will as well. And I hope to talk to the PM or somebody in government about this issue, because it is of importance to me that our community get that chance to get that clarity. I think the families keep putting pressure on, and I keep hoping the government will understand why this is important to us. And will get themselves across that line and recognise, as I said before, that there is a compassionate as well as an informative need to involve the families directly. This is an efficient way to do that. I can't understand why it's so hard.
Local National MP Nikki Wagner says our recovery will be a long journey, but says her recent trip to the once earthquake-damaged San Francisco taught her that good things take a lot of time. Tell me about your trip.
Well, I went to San Francisco to find out about how they managed their 1989 earthquake, disaster management and really community recovery. And I built on the trips that the council has made from Christchurch and also Peter Townsend with the Chamber of Commerce. So it was fantastic to be able to talk to people and ask them some really in-depth questions.
Okay, let's look at the difference, because there were those 5 councillors that went along with a business delegation. And so what did they find out compared to what you went over there to find out?
I think the advantage that I had was that I came with all that information under my belt. I read their reports and I read Peter's report, and so I started off with a different base. I didn't have to learn about it. And really, I think 3 major points came out, and they'd probably echo those as well. The first is the importance of confidence. We've got to have confidence to reinvest in our country, in our city, and to make it happen. The second is really that we've got to understand that it's a really long, hard journey, and we've already felt that already, but they're quite philosophical about it. I was told that we have to make haste slowly, and that good things take a length of time. And the reassuring thing about their comments was that every community that I visited said that even though the road was long and hard, they had a better, stronger and safer community out the other end. So that was very reassuring to me. They also talked about collaboration and the fact that we do have to work together, that it's too big an issue for anybody to take it by the horns and run with it. We've got to work together to make sure that we deliver something that's good for all the people of Christchurch and for the visitors, of course. And finally, I think I felt really positive because we had a couple of real advantages over San Francisco and the US. The first is our insurance. About 99% of New Zealanders are insured, both residentially and commercially, whereas in the United States it's only about 15%. And when we went to Santa Cruz, which their main street was basically demolished, only 2 out of their commercial buildings of 34 had insurance. So that's one of the reasons it took so long, because they had to get creative financial packages together, whereas in New Zealand we have got our insurance. There may be a bit of a gap, but we've also got the support of the government. The other issue that came out of it was that whole nationwide support was really important. I looked at what happened at Katrina and New Orleans, and they just didn't get the support of the people beyond their community, and we've certainly got that. The Prime Minister's absolutely committed to the rebuild, and they've put $8.8 billion towards it. So, you know, I felt really reassured, first of all, by the fact that everybody said they came out better in the end, and secondly, because we've really got the finance behind us that they didn't have.
What are you going to do with all this information that you learnt over there?
Well, I'm putting together a report that I'll be sharing with Jerry Brownlee and the Prime Minister, and I'm just talking around. I'm happy to go and talk to groups and just sort of share what I found out. It is important information, and I think it's really positive and reassuring. And I think there's a really strong feeling in Christchurch that we've been through such a dreadful time. We've paid such a big price that we've really got to get this right, and we've really got to produce something spectacular, and I'm absolutely sure we will.
Welcome back. Calls for the residential red zone to be turned into a memorial reserve is being backed by a meeting this Sunday.
Picture the residential red zone as a spacious memorial reserve.
I mean, what we would like to see is a green thread, if you like, a continuous ribbon of memorial parkland right from the CBD right out through to the coast. So,
the intention to give some certainty in suburbs of confusion.
So what we're proposing is that in order to give some certainty and some clarity around the planning for the future so that those suburbs can have a breath of new life, there needs to be some certainty now about what's going to happen to those lands.
And he's not alone. River of Life, another newly formed group crusading for the same purpose, is holding a community meeting at the New Brighton Community Centre this Sunday after they had overwhelming support for a Facebook page which has attracted 1,600 fans.
I'm experiencing a lot of determination from a growing number of people to make this vision happen. And it's a project that seems to be capturing people's imagination.
He says we need to accept the red zone is most suited for recreational areas rather than trying to fight Mother Nature and rebuild.
I think often we focus on being clever, like how can we get an engineering fix and remediate the land, rather than being wise, and there's a big difference. Wisdom's about learning the lessons of the past and living with what is here rather than imposing something else.
If it's financial return the government is after in the red zone, carbon credits seem the way to go.
Economically, there's a huge gain there. Also, areas could be replanted in native forest and so on, and there's such a thing as carbon credits now. So we need to broaden the way we think economically about a place.
Making the benefits twofold.
This would be like a memorial to them, setting aside for more recreational, so a place where people can reflect and just be with this place and remember, and it's an honouring of what people have been through.
Bexley Red Zone resident and River of Life spokesperson Carly Hanna agrees.
I know that they're going, and I know that a lot of them would not rebuild here. So to do something special here, I think they would really enjoy that and enjoy the whole experience of seeing this place developed in a way that honoured what had gone on.
In the meantime, though, Red Zone residents get some much-needed certainty and a sense of satisfaction knowing they're giving back to the city, a small consolation for losing their homes.
Those people need to have a sense of peace about what's happening to that land. They need to know that they can leave that land and know it's in good care and be happy with what's going to happen to it.
A swap of land is even being suggested, shifting recreational areas on sturdy land to the red zone, clearing up space for building.
If some of those recreational lands which can be built on were moved to the residential red zone, that means that those parklands and amenities can be built in those places, and perhaps then people can then build on the golf courses where the land is good.
And look no further than the name to find the significance of the concept.
The Maori name for the Avon is Otakaro, which means recreation, a place of recreation and play, and maybe it goes back to children playing on the riverside or whatever. We love that vision and we'd like to see it restored to that.
The name, a fitting sign to take the city back to its heritage when so much of it has been lost.
That's CTV News. I'm Kenita Knight.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.